This is Ray Collazo, and you're listening and following the Found in Translation Talk Show. Saludos, mi gente. This is your host, Ray Collazo, on the special lunch with Ray edition. A salad, maybe a fruit salad, maybe real quick Chipotle run. People still go to Chipotle. How y'all doing? This is your host, Ray Collazo, on the Found in Translation Talk Show. This talk show that stacks truth about politics and today's hottest issues. Again, this is your host, Ray Collazo. Thank you for joining, whether you're watching a quick live edition here, either on Facebook Live, Twitter, or YouTube, or for my ride or dies on social media, my audio files. You're listening to this podcast anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, or listening to this as a radio program at WPPMLP 106.5 FM in Philadelphia. Hashtag People Powered Media on this quick lunchtime edition of Found in Translation. We're going to talk about why it's over, what the latest developments post March 10th primaries mean for the Democratic primary race, if there's really a race anymore, the progressive movement and the Latino community, and talk a little bit about what we all need to do collectively, depending on how you looked at this whole situation. And there was a lot of passion around this whole situation on social media last night around what we all collectively need to do moving forward. And a very special announcement about tomorrow night's show. Again, this is your host, Ray Collazo. You know, I got to tell you, I hope you moderates are happy. That's my opening statement. Because y'all were awfully happy last night. You know, the tone of my moderates, my pragmatic buddies out there last night was very indicative to you have a parent that squirrels away their money like a squirrel, ready for hibernating for the winter, counts every penny, and is the one that kind of votes for hey, let's just do the 4-day weekend in Wildwood because it won't be that expensive. We could drive down to the shore. We'll have a little money maybe for Christmas, maybe do some additions on the house. Then you got the other parent. It's like, what are you talking about? We're going to Disney World with these kids. Let's show them the experience of a lifetime. Who cares if we got to run up the credit card a little bit? And that kind of felt like the yin and yang of the conversation last night. There's the aspirational people that believe we can do better, that believe there's a way. Money's money. There's ways we waste it on other things. Let's spend it on things that matter. Then there's my pragmatic moderates last night. The people that some of them have been paying particularly close attention. But they don't like words like socialism. They don't like scary things. The kind of people that like vanilla ice cream. Ham and cheese sandwiches. Let's just keep it steady. Let's just focus on beating this knucklehead in November. Let's not rock the boat too much. So my first statement is I hope you moderates are happy, you pragmatic people, you savers. I hope you're happy because you're getting what you want. As you can see from the map behind me, didn't go so well for Senator Sanders last night. So my first statement is it's over. And in terms of what Bernie does, the reality is, from a mathematical perspective, even if, and I'm not so sure he shouldn't do it, just hang in for the debate on Sunday because he hasn't gotten his one-on-one shot with this guy, with Senator Biden, with Vice President Biden. So on some level for the movement and just for due diligence, it probably does make sense for Senator Sanders to go through with the debate and just see what happens Tuesday. Maybe Biden shows up comatose. Maybe Biden in a one-on-one matchup, Sanders can really draw that contrast and really throw Biden off his game. Maybe Biden goes off like he did on the auto worker yesterday and really casts a doubt on electability, kind of does a Kavanaugh. Who knows? It's possible. Unlikely, but possible. I don't think that changes the dynamics of the race. I think there's a very, very small chance. I hate to say it, but there's just a very minuscule chance that Senator Sanders can make a comeback and really make this even very competitive. I mean, last night was a butt whipping. Let's be honest about it. I think this shows, going back to kind of what this shows us, a couple of things I wanted to share with y'all. It's amazing because whether it's pop culture and even in the world of politics and activism, African Americans are the leaders in so many ways in our country, in our culture, and what that means, right? Whether that's leading the trend being the trailblazers or people reacting to them leading one way or another. Biden was nowhere before South Carolina. Let me reiterate this. He was polling fourth. He was fourth, fifth in some of these contests. The 3-4 days for Super Tuesday, he was nowhere. Nowhere. Second, third, everywhere. Congressman Clyburn and the African-American community of South Carolina not only saved him, but really refocused the Democratic electorate and Democratic leadership onto the candidate that the majority of Democratic voters at this point believe is the most electable and could be Trump in November. And so my hat's off to the Black community because they're leading us with this idea of, especially now, I think with the coronavirus being a factor, which I think helps Biden in a sense, because it's focusing us on who can lead us in sort of with a steady hand and who has sort of the gravitas to manage something in this situation. And look, I've been tough on Biden this whole time. Y'all know that. Y'all know I've been tough on him. Not because I have anything against him, but because I want to push us to do better. I think we can do better. I think the country's demanding for more bold leadership to deal with some of these issues related to income inequality, particularly for this young generation. And people of color, have not benefited the way they should have, with sort of just this, we'll do the best we can kind of style of Democrats over the last several decades, including during the Obama years. I'm going to keep it real. But obviously, Biden, brings a certain steadiness and gravitas to the situation, has a strong points. And as I point out to y'all new to the game, how many of y'all can say when you were a teenager in 1988, you supported Biden? So there's some history there, my friends. I was in Delaware last week speaking to leaders about the situation and about how we need to utilize some of the leadership that's known Biden for a long time to push him on some of these issues, particularly from a Latino perspective. But that's another story for another time. So I would say that, that the white working class Democratic voters, more moderate Democratic voters, older voters have followed the lead of the Black community and said, we're going to not quite ready to jump off the cliff with a progressive like Sanders and that particular progressive. And believe electability and steadiness and someone that we feel like has enough comfort points within the coalition to move forward with him. So that's basically what's happened here. Now, for my Sanders, my progressive fam, they're like, Ray, this was a conspiracy. This is the corporate media out against us. This is the corporate, the Democratic Party coalescing. Yeah, it is. I agree with you, my friends. I agree with you, my friends. You're absolutely right about that. But the reality is that's what's happened. And so did Biden get a bunch of free publicity in 3 days that he really didn't earn? Other than winning one election? Yeah. Did these folks step down? Did Buttigieg and Klobuchar step down due to pressure, whether it was directly from Obama and Hillary Clinton? I heard all kind of people from the top were involved in it. Yeah, all that happened. But that's politics. There's no evidence of voter fraud here. Let's be honest about it. That's politics. That's not, quite a conspiracy. That's the way it goes. If a certain part of the political coalition coalesced behind one person, and as I said 3 weeks ago, fam, my progressive people, I'm with you. My heart's there. I said it 3 weeks ago on the show. You got to listen closely. I said the big factor here is which group coalesces first. It's a chicken and egg game, and guess what? If Warren 3 weeks ago, especially after that New Hampshire, if Warren 3 weeks ago, after that New Hampshire primary said, we got to stop this, and her and Sanders had really built a strong message of unity and said, we got to coalesce right now ahead of Nevada, ahead of South Carolina, and maybe, bring in a Yang or other Steyer. If those people coalesced 3 weeks ago, we might be talking about something different. Now, I'm not saying that to blame Warren. I'm just saying that from a progressive perspective, Sanders politically could have pulled that off. If he could have pulled that off politically, we could be talking about a different ball game. My compadre, and partially the inspiration for this quick lunchtime episode, Cesar Santiago, comments in the chat. The Biden surge has nothing to do with Biden. Wow, you're harsh, Cesar. It is an anti-Trump and anti-Bernie current that lifted him to success. Hope it doesn't crash and burn like Hillary. There's definitely something to that, my friend. It's really interesting because, again, I know my pragmatic friends. I know you're happy. I know y'all got swinging. Hey, look at that bold. Look at that talker, progressives, you dreamers, you people that are bold. You're winning. Just be happy about it. But let me tell you something. None of y'all are hyped for Biden. Can we be honest? It's just us people. It's just us fans. Now I'm seeing all these kudos for Biden. How this is an amazing leader. Where were y'all a month ago? None of y'all were hyped for this guy. Did I see any of y'all travel to New Hampshire knock on doors for Biden? Did I see y'all do Twitter part? I don't. So, let's be honest about it. I think Michael Barther brings up a very good point. That this is really about like an ethos, a persona, a worldview that we need kind of like a milk toasty white person to win some of these states in an upper Northeast, upper Midwest, because we don't really trust white people to vote for anyone that's not in that mode. And, the safest choice is someone that's connected to Obama because that could bring in enough of those white people and enthusiasm with black people. So let's be honest about what it is. I'm really a little annoyed about the Biden, rose-colored glasses perspective here that I'm seeing on social media. And my call to y'all, pragmatic people, you savers, is what y'all going to do. What are you going to do for the next 8 months? What do we have for the election? For the Democrat to not only be the president in November, but also to the point, the argument that Biden keeps bringing up that we need to win the Senate, which is very important. What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit there casually and wave your finger at young people and progressive people because they want something better for their lives and better for all of our lives, and they're trying to push the envelope for issues that we care about? And then if those coalitions don't come out of big enough numbers, you're going to blame us? Or are you going to do something and knock on doors, talk to your friends and neighbors, and talk about this vision that you signed up for? Because this is your vision. Y'all have to bring us into the fold. You've got to lead getting the maximum turnout we can for our coalition, because y'all candidate's the one that's going to win this. So a casual, hand-wringing, finger-waving approach to the 40% of us that didn't want to do this way is not going to win this. Y'all are winning a fair fight, and then y'all need to lead this coalition moving forward. That's what I got to say to y'all. This is your Ray Collazo. Thank you. I appreciate y'all watching and listening to Found in Translation. I would love the comments. I saw my compadre Caesar chimed in. What do y'all think about my comments around what happened last night during the set of March 10 primaries, what this means for the race, and what this means for the Latino community, which I'm also going to touch base in a second, or any community? What do y'all think? I think right now, from a progressive perspective, look, fam, I know it's a tough night. It's a gut punch. And I know we're disillusioned, disappointed. I know a lot of my friends, good folks, are talking about, is this really our party? Not really. But we have to push the agenda. It's much more our push to make the party better and bolder is making headway. And, look, I mean, someone 10 years ago, like a Bernie Sanders, would have been nowhere in the Democratic Party in a primary like this. And look how far we've gotten. Okay, fam? So someone like a Warren with her views. Biden's agenda today, I'm going to keep reminding my progressive people this. Biden's agenda today, even though he doesn't share it, he shares it in a very clunky way, let's be honest. Until very recently, he's been really good this week. I have to give him credit. Is much more progressive than Obama's platform was in 2008. Just keep it 151 with that. Okay? So the key now is not only for the progressive movement, to the extent we want to continue to support Sanders, you should. He's still in the race, still in the game. There's still other voters that should have their say. But we now also have to look at how do we now, ahora, timing is important, especially from a Latino perspective, need to push the Biden campaign and Biden to make some commitments to do some real things for the Latino community if he were to win the nomination, and if clinch the nomination, and if he were to win in November. And, we don't want a fuzzy-wuzzy attitude about what's going on this border. Si gana él en noviembre. Day one, We have to not only make sure that all children are protected, addressed, supported, because we don't really know what's going on down there. And I really need to talk about it more on the show. We really don't. Let's be honest. Do we really know what's going on in these facilities along the southern border with children and adults? So the worst thing to happen is they're poor people that wanted a better life for their families. That's the worst thing they did. That's the worst sin that they committed. These people, they don't deserve to get treated like animals. We can agree or disagree about immigration policy. I would argue economically we need more, not less. For my money people that all care about their money, right? And don't want any taxes taken out for anyone poorer than them. But they don't mind. I don't hear y'all complaining, by the way, when they build these, this military industrial complex, they blow billions of dollars on bombs and planes we don't need and ships. And what do we have? 200 bases around the country. We got bases in countries y'all never heard of. All kind of money gets wasted. So I don't hear about that. Let's take care of these kids and let's just deal with a real system here. Okay. And part of that is we have to deal with you don't want to say F ICE? Fine. If you don't want to say that, moderates, your pragmatists, is y'all taking the lead now? There has to be a commitment by the Obama campaign that if they win, they have to engage Department of Human Services and the ICE department to revamp this entire culture of this organization. Because I don't know if y'all saw that Facebook page, like a third of the people that work there are on this Facebook page. The culture of racism, the culture of dehumanization that is clear from that content has to be addressed. And by the way, a lot of those people are Latino, treating other human beings like crap because they don't want to be caught on the wrong side of racism themselves. I'm being 151 on that. Some real solutions around income inequality. Whether that's the student loan dynamic, whether that's raising the minimum wage, worker protections, unionization legislation, there's got to be a real push for that. Because that's real. The climate change, frankly, I'm not as concerned about. I think he's got a better handle on that situation. He's going to do at least the basics, Biden. But again, to push further, a friend of the show brought it up on the show the other day, a real housing policy. We're going to talk about housing a lot tomorrow on the episode, talking about our artistic show, but the housing policy is critically important. And that has to be a real for real thing. Huge impact on inner city America and the Latino community. So for real, Joy B, compay, what are you really going to do? What are you really going to do? Healthcare, so many things. In Puerto Rico. And this is the one where I think I'm probably where I think the contrast for me is most stark as it relates to in my heart how I feel about these two guys at this point, Sanders and Biden. I feel in my heart, as of today, things could change, that actually Sanders would be our only hope to really address what's going on in Puerto Rico in any significant way. Biden's going to say all the normal things, whatever Puerto Ricans want, non-binding plebiscite, the basic aid issues, with disaster relief. But what are we really going to do about the colony of Puerto Rico in a real way, like a real way? Let's talk about the Jones Act. Let's talk about getting rid of this fiscal control board, which Obama's administration put in place. I know he was getting squeezed by the Republicans in the Senate. I know the history, but the reality is they made that call ultimately. And that's just further choking the island with debt. What are we really going to do for these 3 million Americans on the island and 5 million Americans that are a big part of the fabric of this country, that we're like gypsies? We're like spread out all over the place because of how we've been treated, our homeland has been treated. And I know that there would at least be an opportunity for a Sanders administration to do something bolder and push the envelope. I don't know about that, Biden. There's no history that says that Biden would have an appetite to push the envelope for that. That's important to me. It's not the only thing. It's maybe not even the most important thing if I look at the whole totality of things, but that's really important. So now is the time for us to push. We want to see a Puerto Rico policy. We want to see a real housing policy. We want to see real commitments around how you're going to deal with how people are being dehumanized on this border every day. Real substantive stuff. And then for you moderates, y'all need to get to work. That's all I'm saying. This thing about just poo-pooing the activist class that's pushing the envelope, y'all need to get to work. So I want to see y'all pragmatists out here knocking on doors and convincing people why Biden is so awesome. because y'all are right. Just keeping it real with y'all. I love y'all. I just need y'all to get to work. Last real quick thing, and who am I to say is a Puerto Rican, but I'm just going to say it because I love the Black community, and it's just my observation as part of the fam. I love Senator Harris, love Senator Booker, Congressman Clyburn, mucho respeto, of course, much respect, my man, champion, you know what I mean, for a lot of people in South Carolina for a long time. But in these last several days, with these rallies in Detroit especially, with these African-American leaders who I admire a lot, don't get me wrong, none but love and respect for these people, implying y diciendo cosas que, Biden es casi un negro, un afroamericano. He's like a brother. He's black. He like black. Por favor with that. You know what I'm saying? That's not right. You want to say we have a connection with the community, long-standing relationship. I personally have a fondness for this man. Nope. I feel like he'll do what's right for the Black community. That's fine. No problem. But to make these indirectas and these and make light of blackness and he cool white boy, I really have a problem with that. You could be soulful. You could be, and as a Puerto Rican, I don't consider myself a black person, knowing my genealogical background, but I'm a person of color and I feel obviously a strong kinship with the Black community. If Black people want to say, I feel connected with Ray, it's cool, no problem. But I would never presume to think that any Black person would say something like, well, Ray's Black. Because that to me is cheapening the Black experience and Blackness. And that's not cool. So I really have a problem with that. And again, who am I to say I'm not African-American? I'm just a Puerto Rican guy, grew up in North Philly that cares about the Black community. So I just wanted to put that on the record and really hope Black elected officials, who are just trying to get people excited and justify this, making this, lining up behind this guy, which, hey, you have your reasons, no problem. But let's not, really, it bothers me. So progressive, my people, keep up the hope, my friends. We're going to keep pushing this envelope. There's a lot to do, obviously. It's not over, but it's not looking good. Safer, potentially a debate, game changer Sunday, which, let's face it. We may not even get to that. But it could be over by the end of this podcast. Who knows? But keep up the faith, keep working, keep engaging. Don't let the pragmatists put us down. Moderates, y'all made this call, and I respect it, but then y'all need to take the lead on organizing. So I need y'all knocking on doors. I need y'all mobilizing around these issues. I need you pushing your candidate, your preferred candidate, to really make some strong pronouncements and strong commitments to our communities on what he's going to do to really fight, not just keep the status quo and keep everybody on Wall Street, the corporate Democratic class, cómodo, and the health insurance industries and all those people, because that's who's pushing this agenda. Let's keep it real. Y'all are falling in line with that. So y'all need to push, okay? Last announcement before I let you go and y'all go back to work. I'm really excited. I'm sad that this primary season seems to be winding down because, I love to talk about the horse race trading stuff. I love the political jockeying. But this is going to give us a little room on Found Translation to talk about other things. And one of the things that we're going to dedicate tomorrow's show, very little politics. I might squeeze in a little, but very little parts of politics stuff. Tomorrow's show is dedicated to a phenomenon that is not only a cultural phenomenon that has hit the Latino community, hopefully outside the Latino community as well, but that is really, really connected with people in a very personal way. And I think is one of the best pieces of content that I've seen in a whole long time that highlights Latino culture and the Latino experience in this country as Americans. We're going to dedicate tomorrow's entire show to the show Netflix phenomenon Gentified. And so we're going to have guest co-host Sulay Picorelli, who people know from Philadelphia, Wusla Radio, and the local activist community. We're working on the guests, other people that are connected to the show as bloggers, as fans, West Coast people, potentially some other special guests. We're working on the final lineup, but we're going to talk about Gentified. Talk a bit about Gentified. So watch Gentified tonight if you haven't checked it out. It is fantastic. Only 10 episodes. Watch half tonight. And then we'll talk about it tomorrow night on the show, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you so much for joining this edition of Found in Translation. Get to work, y'all. A lot to do. And enjoy the rest of your hump day. Peace.